Hello, dog lovers, and welcome to another live session. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to today's live session. We're gonna dive into exciting world of dog training. I'm thrilled to have you all in here, and hopefully you're joining. And today we're gonna explore the unique training strategy that I've been using for many years. It's been proven to be providing amazing results. So, welcome to the show. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff about regarding dog training, but I want to more focus on the proven strategy that I have been using um, for at least 20 years yet now, I would say, and has given me a great result. So I want to share this strategy with you. Welcome, Happy Paws. So happy to have you as well. Thank you for being here. So feel free to ask your questions anytime that you come up with any questions that it doesn't make sense to you. Maybe as I'm explaining things and if I'm answering your questions, and if it doesn't make sense, or you have questions that are really bothering you and you want to have an answer from my point of view, feel free to ask your questions in the chat area. Happy Post, thank you very much. um, Plus, if you could do me a favor, hit the like button as well. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now, right there. You can go ahead and subscribe. So, before we get started, I wanted to also emphasize that this is an interactive live session. So, it would be great if you could interact with me and with your questions and comments, and share your own experience as well. I think we can together, if we join together, we can create a better, engaging, more informative discussion about dog training, right? Happy Paws is asking, have you ever thought about mentorship program for free? uh, this is a good question. I think when it comes to uh, anything, let me rephrase this better. Let me just close everything that I'm not using. Let me rephrase this. So anytime that you provide something for free, it doesn't have the value that it should have for um, for the provider and also the the student. So what I mean by that is, if, for example, as a student, you don't invest 100%, you're not going to invest in that program or in that lesson or that experience 100%. And therefore, you're not going to get the results that you want. And as an instructor myself, if I if I don't see someone invested in financial way, let's say, then I see that I'm not going to be able to provide the value that I need to provide for this individual, for example, because that individual is not going to take it as serious as it needs to be. And therefore, I'm not going to, I may be giving my 100%, but the individual who's receiving the information may not invest 100% in that information, and therefore what is going to happen, they're not going to get the results that they want. And what happens there is they're going to slack because they're not invested 100%, and therefore they're going to they're not going to do the work that you expect them to do, and therefore they're not going to get the result they want. And then they're going to say, for example, Saro's program doesn't work, or Saro's mentorship program doesn't work because of this and that. But the problem is that I've given my 100%, but the individual, because he's not invested 100%, is not getting the value that he wants. So therefore, they're not going to get the results that they want. You know, that's why I don't provide free mentorship program. Uh, we have a question from Red X Fingernails. Cheers, my friend from Houston, Texas. Thank you very much. By the way, tell me where you're watching the show from. Thank you for all you do. We love our dogs, for sure. Thank you as well for being here. Um, Happy Pause is saying, why is there so many pit bull dogs at shelters? Are they smart dogs to train? That's a good question. I believe any dog is trainable. That's what we're going to actually talk about mainly today. Dog training and all that. Why is there so many pit bull dogs at the shelter? Because these dogs have been bred for the wrong reasons, uh, and many people they get them for the wrong reason as well. They tend to be very good dogs overall. I know many pit bulls that have been really good. Uh, the only problem is when they are in the wrong hands and people don't do their share, and also they use them for reasons that are not suitable. Uh, it causes them to develop a lot of aggression and stress, and that causes them to become or to behave that way in a way that it looks very traumatic, and therefore they end up at the shelters because people can't handle these dogs. It's not pit bulls only. Any dog, any breed of dog can be. But yeah, probably where you are, maybe at your shelter in your nearby city, wherever you are, maybe the pond has more pit bull dogs in there. Unfortunately, yeah, that's sad. Okay, so let's start today's conversation, and I'm going to start with, talking about my method or my strategy. Well, if feel free to ask your questions. So I've categorized where you are, where you're at in a way, regarding your dogs in four categories. Probably you haven't got a dog yet, but you're thinking of getting a dog. Maybe you just got a puppy, and you're dealing with puppy related issues. Maybe you have a dog that is cool and well behaved and doesn't cause you any problems, and it's no problem. Or maybe you have a dog that is a nightmare and is driving you crazy, right? Uh, so these are the four scenarios. Probably you are in one of these scenarios. Feel free to let me know in which scenario you are at the moment, right? And and then we'll dive in deeper in each category actually. So the let's talk about my strategy. It centers around building a strong bond and effective communication with your dog, right? It's all about understanding your dog's needs and tapping into their natural instincts, right? It's all about having a clear communication with your dog and having a bond with your dog. Now, if you haven't got a dog, let's talk about this category first, right? Uh, if you haven't got a dog yet, you have to understand that when you are when you get a dog, and or even now, you may be overwhelmed with all kinds of information out there that tells you that you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to use this method of dog training, you have to use that method of dog training, you have to use treats, or you have to use force or domination, you have to be the boss, all these things, right? And that's confusing for you probably, right? So what I want you to understand is, if you haven't got a dog yet, that there is a there is an opportunity for you to tap into that opportunity to build a clear communication with your dog using, you know, a strong bond and creating that relationship that is healthy uh, and sustainable with your dog, and you can develop that easily. Now, let me tell you, with all these categories, these four categories that we have, right? Um, you're saying, but using relationship or using bond or using, this effect, communication and all that takes time. Treats are easier, faster, but the other one takes time, takes a long time. Uh, what I want you to know is that actually, when you live with a dog, that as soon as you get a dog, right? As soon as you get a dog, or you have a dog, or currently you have a dog, you're living with your dog. Your dog is living with you. Your 90% of the job is done. You already have some form of relationship with your dog, right? Some form of connection with your dog, some form of bond with your dog. So let's say if you haven't got a dog yet, your goal should be to develop that bond and connection with your dog. If you just got a puppy, you're starting a relationship. You can start working on building a stronger relationship, stronger communication. If you have a dog that is cool, you already have developed a communication and relationship that is working with you for you. And if you have a dog that is a nightmare, right? Probably the reason you have a dog that is nightmare is because you don't have a clear communication and healthy relationship with your dog. So let's talk about those, but let's go first into the chat area and find out again what's going on with your comments, your questions. So Happy Pause is asking, Sarah, do you think we have a lot of trainers or not enough trainers? This is a good question. Giving you're asking good questions. uh, I think every dog owner is a dog trainer, can be a dog trainer. So there is enough dog trainers. Every dog owner is a dog trainer. It's just a matter of uh, if the dog owner, is a good dog trainer or not. I don't think you should be depending on a dog trainer, but if you need help and if you need support, then you should be looking for a dog trainer or a dog expert that matches with your belief. But overall, in the core of the issue is that every dog owner has to be and is a dog trainer. A dog trainer, for example, me, what's the difference between me and, let's say, you, is that I have invested a lot of time and energy and effort and uh, financially, physically, emotionally, mentally. I have invested a lot into learning about dogs, focusing on that. on focusing on the concept and idea and subject of dogs, and I've just worked on that. I've made myself better and better. I've created an environment and uh, uh, situation that I am always learning about dogs. Unfortunately, most dog owners, and this is, I'm not blaming dog owners, life happens. We get busy with everything else that is happening, with work, with life, um, with things that are happening around the world, and we get busy and we get overwhelmed with all of those. And we, unfortunately, dog owners, that they cannot focus on their dog. So their dogs become third, fourth, or fifth important part of their lives. Whereas for me, for example, dogs are probably my second important thing in my life. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to reveal. I'm not going to reveal what my first thing is, but my second thing is dogs, right? I think about dogs. I dream about dogs. I I sleep thinking about dogs. I get up and think about dogs. That's what it is. I give that much importance, right? So to give you an answer, if there is enough trainers, there is enough trainers. Every dog owner can invest a lot of time if they want to into learning about dogs, and by investing time, money, effort, energy, financial, social, mental, physically investing into learning about dogs, there would be enough trainers, dog trainers. But at the moment, I would say there are there are dog trainers. If you go and search on YouTube, you'll get a lot of dog training advice. For example, on Google and YouTube, if you search, you'll get a lot of dog training advice from probably six or seven top searched. um they're not per se good, great dog trainers, but they are just more popular in Google and YouTube search, and you'll end up with those. And if you Google search your local area for dog trainers, you may be also getting a lot of results, but that those don't mean that they are great dog trainers. They're good dog trainers. So there are dog trainers, a lot of dog trainers, but they don't. Most dog trainers, they're hobbyists. They It's hard for me to say it, but that's reality. Most dog trainers, what has happened is they said to themselves that, I love dogs and I like working with dogs, so therefore I'm going to start pursuing becoming a dog trainer, and they copy or mimic other dog trainers and they call themselves dog trainers. No, dog training is something that dog trainers who are dog trainers are dog trainers who have established a method and system in their, and have a programmer or whatever, and they have established that, and they become uh, um, an individual in dog training. Those kinds of dog trainers, there's not enough. But there's lots of newbies, wannabe dog trainers. I know it's tough to talk about it, but but that's how it is. Uh, yeah, please give it a thumbs up if you are enjoying this live show. Let me go to the champion 1976. My main issue is separation anxiety. I have a solo 16-week year old puppy. I don't know what kind of that breed is. Exolo? I have to, I'm always learning things, so I don't know what that is. I have to Google it to figure. Oh, is that a Mexican hairless dog? I think that's what it is. I didn't know they were called Exolo. Um, so you're having issue with separation anxiety, 16-week-year-old puppy. So let me give you a quick answer, an answer that I think it will, I think, help you with this issue that you're having. A 16-week-old puppy. I hope you're correct there. 16-week-old puppy, right? Uh, it's very young. Is going to have separation anxiety because it has just been separated from its parents, its siblings, and it's under a lot of trauma, a lot of stress, anxiety. And they would have this anxiety for time being because it's a big change happening in their lives. They've been somewhere else, born somewhere else, lived for some time somewhere else, or probably moved to your home or something like that. But a lot of changes has happened. But overall, puppies are very sensitive and they're very fragile, and you shouldn't expect them to not to have any anxiety. It's welcome. Anxiety is welcome. It's not that I promote anxiety, but it's welcome. If there's no anxiety, it wouldn't be normal. So it's good that your puppy actually is showing that there is an anxiety. So feel comfortable that yes, it's normal to you know have an anxiety, and to live. Separation anxiety is something that you have to understand. This puppy is looking for solutions, is looking for answers, is looking for guidance. And you could be that person, that individual that your puppy is going to attach itself, say, you know what, I'm going to attach myself to you because I'm very fragile, very sensitive, very weak. I need to attach myself to you so I can get information and I can get guidance from you. And if you don't provide that guidance to your dog, then that dog is going to feel that it's left alone. The world is ending, and it's end of the world, and I'm gonna die, like, right? So what you want to do is make sure that you provide, at least for time being, a lot of security, a lot of companionship, so your puppy doesn't feel stressed and anxious, and feels comfortable, uh, first of all, in its environment that it is, and with you and everything that's happening around your puppy. So separation anxiety is something that I would say most dogs suffer. The reason for that is because dogs have been designed and bred for humans by humans. So they have been they are meant to be with humans. They are meant to have a companion. And when you don't provide that companionship for a puppy or a dog, it for them it feels like a punishment. A lone wolf is a dead wolf. Remember that. A lone wolf is a dead wolf. So if you are alone, you're going to die. So that's the mentality that every dog has in its brain, that if I'm alone, I'm going to die. So they can't be alone. If you want your dog to be alone, you have to teach it to be alone. And that takes time, that takes energy, it takes techniques, it takes uh, uh, lessons to training. It takes training to train a dog to be able to tolerate separation anxiety. Thank you for the question. I hope that made sense. We have Cynthia Ingram. She's one of the members of the channel. Thank you for being here. Thank you for nice to see you. Thank you for being here. Hello. Thank you. Um, Happy Paws asking, have you ever thought about fostering, starting a rescue with your skills as a trainer? Yeah, I have done few of those. I have done few fostering, and I have rehomed some of the dogs of the ones that I have fostered. Uh, I used to do it for a while. I used to do it often. I don't do it anymore because what happens is when I have a very soft heart for dogs, if I foster a dog, I fall in love with that dog, and it's the most traumatic experience personally for me to let go of that dog to another family. It's just I want to keep these dogs if I foster them. Unfortunately, we can't, but that's why I don't do it anymore at this stage. But I used to do it. I loved fostering. I fostered German Shepherds. I fostered Golden Retriever. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting, Cynthia, that you also experienced the same thing. Yeah, I think some areas, some places, there are more pit bulls than somewhere else. Um, yeah, where we are now, for example, at the shelter is more dogs, uh, more working breeds are there in the shelter. Just the lifestyle here is different. Cynthia is asking, why are there so many of that breed pit bulls in shelters? I'm just tuning in, and this question might have been answered already. It's been heartbreaking. Yeah, I already answered it, but basically because many people breed the pit bull for different reasons, for the wrong reasons, and many dog owners they get pit bulls for the wrong reasons. So everything is wrong from the beginning to the end, to the point that the dog gets to the point that it's stressed and anxious, and does, physically they're capable of causing a major damage. So when they get pissed and anxious and stressed, they can cause major damages. And to when they do that, they cause a big headache to the society, that the society says, you know what, you got to go in the shelter, right? Nobody wants them in their home anymore. Happy Pause, have you ever thought about traveling to shelters and helping them, showing them your skills, saving dogs? This is another. I think I've explained this before, but I think it's a good time to explain one more time. Um, I don't think that, you know when the dog is in shelter, they have a limited uh, time uh, to be dealt with. And dog training is not something that you can help a dog within few sessions or at the shelter environment. In the shelter is the worst place to train a dog. You know, shelter is very the dog shelter is very stressful environment. So let's say I go there and I work with the dog for an hour or so, and the dog had a good time, learned something, goes back in the shelter. The next 23 hours, that dog is back to reality and forgets everything that I've taught, because it's a very stressful environment. It's not an environment for a dog to be able to learn, to be focused, to be able to focus, to be able to enjoy life. It's a prison. Just think of it that way. Do you think prisoners learn anything at the prison? Not really. All they're learning is how to do bad stuff, actually, right? Uh, and also, it's all survival. You're not in a good mental state in a shelter or in a prison. So therefore, I don't do that because whatever I do, it's going to go down the drain. That's not the environment that I want to teach that dog. I hope that shelters didn't exist, but that's the reality nowadays. My goal, in other way, is to provide this information, and the way I help dogs is by producing content, providing this kind of content and information to you as a dog owner, so your dog one day doesn't end up at the shelter. You know, um, because why is it that dogs end up at the shelter is because lack of information and education of dog owners, and dog owners are the blame for you know allowing that dog to end up at the shelter. And if I can empower you somehow to avoid making mistakes and not getting to the point that you have to let go of your dog and give it up to the shelter, or your dog somehow ends up at the shelter, my job is done. That's how I'm going to be contributing to the society, not by going and cleaning people's mess, uh, but I'm going to be helping you, whoever I can, to stop making those mistakes so we don't make a mess in our society. You know what I mean? You're welcome, Cynthia. Uh, that's funny. Uh, Thank you. Uh, this is a good question from Cynthia. Sarah, what training would you recommend starting with if I adopted a dog from a shelter? So I was just talking about this, and let's continue on talking about this actually. And then we'll come back to the chat area again and we'll chat. Go ahead and ask your questions while I'm answering this question and also talking about the topic that I'm talking about. So I was talking about the fact that you can build a great training strategy using building a relationship based training method, which I use. And the training method that I use is unique because we're using, um, first of all, communication, clear communication. We're working on building a solid bond with our dogs, and also we're building a relationship-based training method. That's what I use. As of my training method is based on play and praise reward system. If you're not familiar with that, let me just quickly explain what it is. Play and praise reward system is basically teaching the dog to learn to respond to reward, to such as play. If you do this, if you behave this way, I'm going to play with you. As a dog owner, I'm going to play with the dog, right? And or I'm going to praise my dog. Praising is just simply saying to a dog, good boy, good girl. Oh, what a girl. What, you did good? Yes, good, good. Just praising it's a great reward for a dog. So I use play and praise as a reward system to train dogs, and it's based on relationship, right? We're building a relationship with the dog, and we're implementing this method into the dog. And as I said, if you haven't got a dog yet, for example, Cynthia, I'm not talking about that, but yes, you're thinking of getting of adopt a dog. You haven't got a dog yet, right? So your goal should be to start building a relationship based uh, communication and bond with your dog, so your dog can be willing more to listen to you, uh, and be paying attention to you. Uh, you may have just got a puppy, right? Or you have a dog that is nice and well behaved, or you have a dog that is a nightmare. All of these categories, you can still build a good relationship with your dog. Now, how do you build a good relationship with a dog? Is by thinking of, what do I have to do for this dog? What do I have to offer to this dog that is going to help me to have a good relationship with this dog? So the way I think of it is, I suggest dog owners to think of providing their dogs daily five essential needs. And this is the formula, actually. The strategy that I use is, I think of, you know, let's say, Cynthia, for example, you're thinking of adopting a dog, um, from a shelter, and what training would you use? I would suggest, instead of just focusing, let's say, on training, focus on thinking of, am I able to provide these five essential needs of my dog that I'm going to adopt from the shelter? Training is there as well. Training is there, right? Training is part of the formula, but it's not the only thing that you're going to be focused on. You want to focus on providing, can I provide a decent amount of exercise for this dog? So, can I provide a regular training routine for this dog? Can I provide enough socialization for this dog? Can I provide a good care for this dog? And would I be able to share affection with this dog? You may say, your answer could be yes, I'm going to share a lot of affection with this dog. I can provide a lot of good care. Um, Socialization, maybe I can, depending on the dog's behavior, how it is. Training, we'll talk about it. Exercise, I don't know. I'm working full time, or I'm not working full time. I'm not able to exercise this dog a lot. These are the questions that you have to answer. And when we think about, let's say, if I'm going to adopt the dog from a shelter, or if I have any dog, if I have a dog in general, um, what is my first thing that I have to think about? Most dog owners, they say, this affection. That's not the first thing that you should think about. Even though I'm just talking about, building a relationship with a dog. Building a relationship with the dog, relationship based dog training, having a clear communication, having a clear bond, doesn't mean that you just focus on affection. That means that that shelter dog, as I said, that dog has been at the shelter, the most stressful environment. Imagine, think of it as the dog has been at the jail, right? Been in prison. How would it feel? How would it be physically, mentally, emotionally? Very stressed, right? So when that dog comes to your home, no matter what has the past story been, let's say that it's been either there are, two excuses, two reasons why dogs end up at the shelter. One is there are three reasons, but I'm gonna pick two of them. One of them, dog owner doesn't have the time. Life changed, uh, started working full time, and everything changed. So don't have time. Return the dog to the shelter, or the dog has been aggressive to kids and family members and neighbors and community. So therefore, the dog ends up at the shelter. No matter what the reason was that this dog ended up in the shelter, plus, you know, why is it that dog ended up in the shelter? Because the owners they they made that happen. The dog owners made that to happen. The dog owner, all of a sudden the life changed. I used to be unemployed and I had lots of time. I went ahead and got a dog, and all of a sudden I have to go back to work, and I have to work 8, 9, 10 hours. Don't have time anymore, so I'm gonna take the dog. So human being selfish send the dog and ended up at the shelter. Or the other case, aggressive. Why is that dog aggressive? Why is it that that dog being aggressive and biting and wanting to kill every dog and human in the neighborhood? Because this dog owner didn't provide a dog's daily five essential needs. That's the reason why the dog gets aggressive and ends up at the shelter, right? So now the dog, first of all, hasn't got its daily five essential needs, so ends up at the shelter. And then at the shelter, lives there for a while, so it becomes even more stressed and anxious because it's not getting its daily five essential needs still. So it becomes more and more stressed and anxious. And then one day you go and rescue this dog from the shelter and bring it to your home. So you have a dog who comes with a massive package, right? So as a dog owner who's who another dog owner who's trying to make the wrong right, goes and adopts another dog hoping to fix this problem, but doesn't is not able to fix the problem because what it focuses on is, I'm going to fix this dog with affection. I'm going to help this rescue dog with affection. That's not the way to fix this dog's problems when especially comes with a big massive package. What you need to focus on is providing these dogs daily five essential needs, and you have to provide it in this order. You can't just focus on affection, you can't just focus on providing care, you can't just say I'm going to provide the best socialization for this dog. I remember many years ago, a dog owner at one of my clients at dog daycare that I had. She said, "You know what? I want to rescue this dog from the shelter, and I'm going to bring this dog to your doggy daycare every day, so he gets nice and socialized every day." So this dog owner, its goal was to rescue the dog from the shelter and pro- allow me to do her job to fix the dog and help the dog. The owner wanted to bring the dog every day to our daycare so the dog would get a good socialization, but that's not the only thing that the dog needs. The dog needs all these five things provided in this order. Yes, socialization is there. I'm not saying don't bring the dog to doggy daycare or anything like that. If the dog is well behaved and social with other dogs, yes, doggy daycare is going to help. But Socialization is not the only thing that you want to focus on. So you want to provide a good amount of exercise for this dog. Dogs who have been at the shelter, they're not able to exercise properly. They're in the shelter, they're in the jail cell, they're not able to exercise. So you have to provide a good amount of exercise. Now, I'm not saying exercise them like 2, 3 hours a day, but what I want you to do is, depending on the dog, physical limitations, mental state of that dog, you want to make sure that this dog gets enough exercise. Could be half an hour enough for a certain dog, could be an hour enough, or could be 15, an hour and a half for that dog. God knows, right? So you want to provide enough amount for that individual dog. And then you want to train it. I'm going to tap into training a little bit more, but training is very important. Exercise provides physical stimulation for that dog. Training provides mental stimulation for that dog. So dogs need both physical and mental stimulation. The exercise should be focused on 30% of the daily stimulation. Training should be 30% of mental, sorry, exercise should be 30% of daily stimulation physically. Mentally, they should be stimulated 70%. Socialization is a social stimulation. They still need that. But depending on the dog, you may have a dog who's hasn't been socialized properly with dogs, so you need to help it to be social with other dogs and improve its social skills. So you have to focus on improving its social skills and providing its social needs. Care is a physiological need of the dog. You have to provide its physiological needs. Any living thing needs to be cared for properly. They need to eat and drink and be cared for. Affection is emotional stimulation. Yes, dogs need emotional stimulation as well. But emotional stimulation comes after you have provided physical, mental, social, physiological needs of the dog. Then you can provide emotional uh, needs of the dog as well. I hope this is making sense. Now let's focus on training. So when it comes to training dogs in general, you want to focus on allowing the dog to learn some form of communication that you can start communicating to your dog. That's what training is. Basically, the main goal of training is to help you to build a communication system between you and your dog. So what I mean by that is, if I talk like this to a dog, they won't understand what we are saying, right? It won't make sense to them, right? They may understand few words here and there, but they don't really understand what we want. So we have to develop a communication system between us and them. So that communication system is called training. What is training? Training is building small, uh, you start from level 0 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, go on and on. That's what training is. Training is just like, let's say you go to a gym, you sign up at the gym, and you hire a hire a trainer, and you say, you know what, I want to start working out. The first day, the trainer won't give you uh, a lot of activities to do. What you're going to do first day, probably you're going to lift a 5 pound weight, right? It may look silly, but that's how you start. You start with little effort. You start building the muscle. You start building it, uh, building little steps, right? Week two, you're lifting 10 pounds weights. Week three, you're doing the weights and also maybe elliptical or treadmill. Week four, you're probably lifting heavier weights and you're jogging and you're doing this and you're doing that. See, we're starting to build little by little, right? Dog training is like that. You start building from zero to whatever you want. So the zero is teaching the ABC of dog training is basically teaching the dog to sit, stay, come, oh, heel, stand, lie down, wait. We just stick to simple words instead of saying, would you come to me? Would you please sit? Instead of saying that, right? We're just going to say sit, come, stay, right? Instead of just having sentences, we are just going to simplify it for the dog to learn sit, stay, calm, and all that. And once the dog learns what the sit is, then we're going to teach it stay, we're going to teach it stand, we're going to teach it heel, lie down, and on and on. And then if the dog has learned the sit and stay and all that, then we start teaching the dog to sit and stay for 1 minute. And then we teach the dog to stay for 2 minutes, then 3 minutes, and then 4 minutes, and then 5 minutes. Once the dog learns to do that, then we teach the dog to come. The come is probably first few weeks we are right in front of the dog. Week two, we are a little bit further than the dog. Week three, we're a little bit further, and we go further and faster, further and um, more distance, and we're adding more distractions and on and on. That's training, right? Now, can you train a dog? How do you train these sit and stays and all that? There are so many options, but let me simplify it for you. By understanding the fact that your dog has been bred and designed by humans for humans, most of your problems has already solved. Your dog has been bred to do anything for you. Let's say if you haven't got a puppy or you rescued a dog and you don't have a relationship yet, your task should be to build that relationship. So in order for that formula to work, and in order for the dog to change and listen to you and become a good dog, if you start doing these, the dog is going to start building a connection with you. It's going to start building communication. Even if you do training 5 minutes a day, you're still accomplishing the formula. Now, the training, let me tell you, you can use shock collars to train the dog to sit. You can use choke chain collars to teach the dog to sit. You can force the dog to sit. You can use treats to get the dog to sit, or you can simply ask the dog to sit, and the dog will do for you. Yes, I want you to understand that if you ask your dog simply to sit, and in the beginning, obviously, it's not going to happen because the dog has no connection with you, has no bond with you, because you haven't accomplished this formula yet, you're not going to get the results that you want. But the week one is going to be crappy. Week two is going to be better than week one. Week three is going to be Much better. Week 4, you ask the dog to sit, the dog is going to sit without treats, without tools, without shock collars, without choke chain collars, without this and that. The dog is going to just simply say, you know what, as a human, as my human that feels like it's trying to connect with me, it's providing all my daily needs. That's all I need. I need a little bit of exercise. I need some mental stimulation training. I need some socialization. I need a good care, a lot of affection. At the end, my human is providing all this for me. So I'm going to do exactly what my human is asking me. And that's what human based relationship training, dog training is. The dog is going to say, you know what? You're my king. You're the best thing that ever happened to my life. I'm going to do exactly what you wanted to do, and I will do exactly what you say. You want me to sit? Sure, I'm going to sit. You want me to stay for 5 minutes? Ask me to wait for 10 minutes. I'll do it without the use of treats, force, domination, tools, and gadgets. The dog is going to do it for you for free because, on top of the fact that your dog has been bred and designed for by humans for humans, that they do automatically, naturally, they do things for humans. On top of that, you're providing all these daily 5 essential needs. Plus, here's the kicker: you're rewarding your dog with play and praise. Oh my goodness, that is like jackpot for that dog. The dog has hit the jackpot. He's got a human that is providing all the dog's daily needs, and is playing and praising that dog. Mic drop. Boom. The dog says, you know what? I hit the jackpot. I'll do anything for this human. This human is playing with me. This human is praising me. My God, I'm gonna do whatever I can to satisfy this human too. So that's the training that you want to focus on. I hope it made sense. So that's my strategy. Simple strategy. And many dog owners, they say no way. Nah, it's not gonna happen. It's not that simple. It's not that easy. You're kidding me. I'm not kidding you. It's possible. I have students who have done it. They have they have gone from being, you know, questioning all the same way that you do, to becoming a dog owner who's confident enough to know exactly what to do. So one of the things that I provide in my program, for example, my training program, it's an online program that I provide 24/7 support and lifetime program for dog owners. And that itself is a big win for a dog owner, because that dog owner says, you know what, anytime I have question, anytime I have problems, I can rely on Saro. So they rely on me. My students, they always ask me questions if they have to, right? Not only I have online video library that they can go and watch and solve their problems without even asking me questions, yet they can ask me 24/7 questions. And this program that I provide is a lifetime program. It's not a 6 week program. It's not a 10 weeks program. It's not a few months. It's not a few years. It's a lifetime of the dogs. And as long as you have dogs, this program is there. We focus on training dogs without the use of treats. We have weekly coaching video calls, just like this, but I do it with my students, and we they ask me questions. I explain to them what exactly they have to do, show them videos, show them, myself, I show what you have to do, how you have to do. I customize the lessons for them. We use training using play and praise without the use of aversive tools and methods. And I have many students in my program at the moment. So if it's something that you want to join, all you have to do is book a free call with me. And I do this because I want to make sure that I am able to help you. I'm not allowing anybody to join the program. I want to make sure that I will be able to help you. You're an individual that I can help. So I do this free video call with you to see if I'm the right uh, instructor, coach for you, and if you're the right student for the program. That's why I do this. I don't just let anybody to join the program. It has to be the right individual, somebody who's willing to invest time, energy, and money to the program to get the results that it wants. So that's what I do, and that's how I provide the support that I can to dog owners as well. That additional support, right? I do this. I create content. I create programs, uh, live videos, and all that. But I always have that program as well that it goes deeper and gets more customized to individuals. Let me go back to chat area. Let me see what is going on. So the champion 1976. I watched one of your videos on advice for discipline your dog with calmly training him or what routine do you go through? Good question. Uh, Before I answer this question, let me let you know that I have just starting to produce this video series that is going to go through few of the obstacles that there are between you and training your dog. And the first video will be up and going on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. And then after that, we're going to talk about the disciplining. Uh, you know, you call that discipline. I call it negative and positive reinforcement. That's what I'm going to be talking about actually in that video. So I hope you will subscribe to the channel so you won't miss that video. Make sure to hit the bell icon as well so the bell notification is on, so you will get notified as soon as that video goes on too. But overall, I don't call it discipline. I don't discipline dogs. I don't agree with disciplining a dog. You could discipline humans, right? Because we can have this communication and talk and make sense and and come up with solutions with humans. But with the dogs, if we discipline them, they get more confused. Actually, they say, why am I getting disciplined? I have no idea why am I getting disciplined. So let's say even if your dog is attacking somebody and you discipline, so-called discipline that dog still doesn't know why is it getting disciplined. All it feels and sees and experiences is that I went ahead and I attacked this dog or this human, and now my human is attacking me. So that's what happens. They get confused, right? So therefore, I don't discipline dogs. What I suggest to do is provide negative and positive reinforcement. You will, if you do a little bit of research, I think you will come across a term that dog trainers use is positive reinforcement. The other one that you will come across is balance training. So, in my opinion, you need to be clear in communicating to your dog that this was right, this was incorrect, this was correct, this was incorrect, this was good, this was bad. We call that positive and negative reinforcement. You have to allow the dog to experience both positive and negative experiences in life in order to feel that it can learn things. If you just provide positive reinforcement to a dog, the dog feels like even if I make a mistake, I still get my dinner, I still get my praise, I still get my toy, still get my bed and all that. So nothing happens if I even if I make a mistake. So that's the problem with positive reinforcement. With negative reinforcement, if you just focus on negative reinforcement, on something like most dog trainers who use force and domination and shock collars and things like that, the dog is going to say life is negative, right? E- e- Every time I make a mistake, I get hurt, right? Which is not fun for a dog. You're putting the dog in a negative state of mind most of the time when you just focus on negativity. In my opinion, you have to provide both positive and negative to a dog. So, for example, if I ask the dog to sit and the dog doesn't sit, I'm not going to discipline the dog. I'm going to help the dog to sit. And if the dog sits, I'm going to reward it with a play or praise. And once I teach it, and I know that I have taught the lesson to my dog, and then I ask my dog to sit, and yet the dog doesn't sit, instead of punishing the dog, I'm just going to say, you're not going to get rewarded until you do your thing that you have learned already. I know you know it. I know we worked on it. I taught you how to sit. And now, if you're choosing not to sit, then I'm going to not reward you until you sit. So the dog connects with the experience that it had, that if I listen to this human, not obey, just listen to this human and do what this human is telling me to do, this human is going to reward me for that activity, that action. So I'm going to do it. But if I don't do it, my human doesn't play or praise me. Right? It doesn't play with me, it doesn't praise me. So my dog's goal is to get your praise and get your attention, um, from you. It's like just like those kids. You've seen those kids. Like we were at the pool the other day. The kid was constantly telling mom, "Mom, mom, look what I can do. Look, mom, 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 look I can jump. Mom, look at me. Watch me." See, the kid wanted the mom's attention the entire time. Basically, the kid wanted mom to just look at him all the whole time, right? That's what is happening with the dog. Dog wants your attention fully. And if you provide that attention to a dog with play and praise, that dog will do anything. Just like that kid, the kid was going and uh, at the pool diving from low height. It was, Mom, mom, look what I can do, jumping. And then as it was doing it, it was going higher and higher. Look, mom, I can do it here. Look, I can do it from here. He was doing it, right? So the more encouragement you provide to a dog, the dog will do better and better for you and will become better and better. And again, remember that if you provide your dog's daily five essential needs, right, that itself is the success formula, right? On top of that, if you correct it and reward it with play and praise, or not play, if you don't play and praise with your dog is going to learn much faster and better, right? Make sense? I hope that answered your question. Where was I? Let me see. Yeah, that was the question. So I hope I answered that. Yeah, I hope I'm able to, Cynthia, able to help you actually. That's the goal. Oh, wow. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you for the chat. I forgot what this was. I forgot the name of it. Super chat, yes. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. I appreciate very much. Thank you for supporting the channel and me. Thank you, my friend. Uh, Happy Pause is asking when is going to be the next live. The next live I'm thinking would be in about 2 weeks, I would say. I would come back and update and let you know how things are going and answer your questions. I'm working on, as I said, I'm working on a video series that it's going to take me a while to make them and edit them and have them ready. I'm very excited about that. So I'm busy with that, and also busy with my own students as well, and the online program. So the live, I'm trying to do as often as I can. I think every 2 weeks would be something that I can do it. Uh, but yeah, I hope I will be in 2 weeks. But uh, for to make sure that you don't miss these live sessions, make sure that you are subscribed and turn on the notification icon so you will get notified as soon as I go live or post a new video. Um, I hope everybody got something out of this live session. Did I miss anything? Let me just quickly check. Um, So basically, I wanted to make sure that you understand in this live session. Let me just sum it up. My strategy of how I train dogs is that I use play and praise reward system. Plus, I use the a dog's daily five essential needs formula. That's how I have personally been able to have success in training my own dogs, beagles especially, and hundreds and thousands of other students that I have worked with, and at the moment with the students that I work as well, we focus on those. Um, I focus on positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. Another important aspect is, having a clear communication, that you have a clear verbal communication, with your dog. As I said, make it simplified for your dog, and make sure that your training is starting from zero to level whatever you want to go. So start with sit, stay in verbal, simple communication, but also your body language, right? Your lifestyle itself, it's very important to improve as well. Um, if, for example, you're asking your dog, Rover, sit, that energy is not going to encourage the dog to sit, right? The body language and the language that you're using is not going to help. But if you go and say, Rover, sit, Rover has more chance to pay attention to that body language and also the language that you're sharing, right? Um, Lastly, patience and understanding are the key, right? Having a patient that you need to invest time. It's not everything happens overnight. You need to invest time, but also you have to do things properly and in the right way, in the correct order, and understanding that it, you need to make sure that you're doing everything right. For example, if your dog is doing something that is right and it's amazing, celebrate. Open a champagne bottle. Celebrate those little moments, right? And make sure that you take the time to invest more than just spending money on the fashion of the dog. You know, the best color in the world, or the best leash, or raincoat, or booties, or this shirt or t-shirt. Instead of those stuff, focus on providing your dog's daily five essential needs. Those things don't matter. Yeah, eventually, yes, it matters to you, the coat and the leash and all that, but your dog doesn't care. Your dog wants to only care about if you're providing proper exercise, training, socialization, and proper care, food, good food, invest in good food. And speaking of good food, I am going to create a video about one of the best foods that I have come across for dogs. I want to share that with you so you have a good source of diet for your dog as well. And affection, the last thing a dog needs is affection. So focus on these. That's my strategy, right? That's how simple it is. And in your mind, you're saying, it's not that simple. Believe it or not, 20 years ago, when I was in your own shoes, I was the same. I was overwhelmed in my puppy, Jonah. And I said, oh, what have I done? Right? But once I figured out the solution, once I figured out this formula, this strategy, it was like day and night. I was so relieved. I was so excited that I wanted to share this with everybody else. So I decided to become a certified dog trainer so I could uh, spread this message to everybody. And ever since that, I have been spreading this message to all dog owners, right? This strategy. And it's the simplest, most effective, most reliable strategy. If you want to join my program and learn the strategy in deeper level and become an educated dog lover who can solve his dog training and overall dog related issues, simply you're welcome to join my signature program, which is called Perfect Dog Plan. It is only available for by invitation. What that means is me, I interview you to make sure that you're the right individual for the program and I'm the right individual for you. And if we see everything is going well, then you can enter and register for the program. And to do that, I do free video call, which you can find the link in the description below in the video and also on my website. All you have to do is just provide, book a day and time that it's ideal for you, and we'll chat and we'll go from there. I hope you had some light bulb moments today. You learned something. I enjoyed it. We talked about a lot of stuff. If there's any other questions, feel free to ask those questions in the comments area. If you enjoyed this live session, make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to share this video with the other dog lovers. And make sure to share this channel with other dog lovers. And until next time, have fun with your dog, okay? See you later. Take care.